The earth paints the image of the morning sun on the shimmering brook. Uncontented, it wipes it out and makes it flow again. In nature, the living organisms and their non-living environment are inseparably interrelated and interact with each other. This relationship evokes the concept of ecology, a term coined by A.G. Tansley in 1935. An ecosystem may be of terrestrial, marine, or freshwater type. Though freshwater resources occupy less than 1% of the total volume of water available, however, for many reasons, they are of great importance to man. There are different types of freshwater bodies around the world, and their distribution is very uneven. 75% of the available fresh water is in USA and Canada, while in several other continents like Eurasia and Africa, only limited freshwater supply is available. In the Gulf countries, especially in the United Arab Emirates, there is an acute water shortage problem. The freshwater bodies are of different types. They are rivers, which are seasonal or perennial water resources flowing in a gradient and usually joining the sea. Lakes, which represent natural accumulations of water. Rivers on which impoundments are built or man-made large water masses called the reservoirs. Pond, which is a closed freshwater resource. It has an inlet and an outlet. Groundwater resources like the dug wells and tube wells. Puddles, which are temporary accumulations of water and are seasonal in nature. Oh, do give me water, for I am weary and thirsty. Oh, do give me water, for I am exhausted. Fresh water is a component of life. It is useful to man in several ways. But today, even this taken for granted resource is becoming delimiting to man. Efforts are now on to develop this resource to its fullest potential. The Food and Agriculture Organization is targeting to make good drinking water available to urban and rural areas of our country. The government is also aiming at constructing more reservoirs on the large scale and tube wells and dug wells on the small scale to combat against serious water scarcity in drought-stricken parts of our country. Water for irrigation has been provided to several dry areas of our country, but many areas in the western and northwestern India still face irrigation facility shortage and solely depend on rainwater. The freshwater resource also provides a potential for aquacultural operations like fish culture, crocodile culture, etc., which shall not only earn food but also a substantial portion of our foreign exchange through exports. The use of freshwater resources for our recreation is also quite limited in our country. Substantial amount of our foreign exchange can be earned in this field also. Tapping of energy from water falling in a gradient yields hydroelectricity, which is presently the cheapest and most substantial amount of electricity production in our country. The freshwater ecosystem also serves as a medium for several waterborne disease-causing organisms. The incidence of cholera, diphtheria, jaundice, malaria, and several skin ailments, etc., is high in our country, and their control has become the major aim of organizations such as WHO and UNICEF. But before putting this ecosystem to our convenient needs, we must make ourselves aware of the natural balance existing there. Freshwater bodies are ecologically divided into two types: the lotic or running water type and the lentic or standing water type. The structure of the ecosystem is made up of interactions between biotic or living component and abiotic or non-living component. The abiotic component consists of factors such as the temperature, represented by a thermocline, light, which causes littoral, limnetic, and profundal or aphotic types of zonations, the concentration of respiratory gases in water, and the concentration of different types of biogenic salts, for example, nitrates, phosphates, calcium, sulfur, etc. in water. The biotic component, which can be classified on the basis of energy flow, in the diagram, producers are represented by P, consumers by C, and decomposers by D. Producers, which are phytoplanktons like algae, diatoms, and macrophytes like hydrilla, water hyacinth, and water lily. Consumers, which include larval forms of arthropods, cladocerians, rotiferans, and mollusks. Decomposers, which are bacteria and fungi populations. The aquatic biota may also be classified on the basis of life forms present in particular position on or in the water body, as periphytons, which are organisms which cling to the stems of plants or stones submerged in water body. Planktons, which flow with the water current. Nectons, which are organisms swimming in water. And neustons, which are organisms resting or swimming on the surface. Ecosystem productivity can be studied with the help of pyramids of biomass, energy, number of autotrophs and heterotrophs, and saprophytes. Such pyramids help to determine whether the particular ecosystem is autotrophic or heterotrophic, that is, producers more than consumers and consumers more than producers respectively. Today, man is abusing this intricate and unique ecosystem by almost possessing it. Dumping of huge amounts of sewage wastes, industrial effluents, agricultural discharges, waste from chemical industries, fossil fuels, etc. into these resources is a common occurrence. Due to this indiscriminate use, one day we may be left craving for a drop of fresh water. We have to thus develop our freshwater ecosystems to at least save ourselves from the hazards of water pollution. We have to construct more dams, canals, ponds, dug wells and tube wells and maintain the water quality supplied for domestic needs. We have to set up centers at greater incidences for testing water quality and the biological oxygen demand of water. A vigilance over the water quality maintenance should be carried out by water pollution control boards. Law enforcement, which has been done, can also save this invaluable resource. For example, the amended Act of 1988 for water pollution control serves this purpose quite well. Let us leave this wonderful gift of nature endowed upon us alone and not hamper the living community thriving there and deliberately limit their existence as well as ours. With this, we bid adieu to the magnificent world of freshwater ecosystem, even as on the dark waters of the lake shines the light of the twilight hour.